I'm Ingrid McAllister, and I'm sharing these stories because I believe every woman is capable of achieving brilliant things. But we can't do it alone. Together, we will empower each other, learn from each other, grow together, and help each other give back. This is womanhood.
मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे जाना है घर पे। तो उसके बाद उसने वहाँ से निकलने का मौका नहीं दिया। फिर यहाँ पर मुझे बहुत मारे, मुझे बहुत टॉर्चर करे, ऐसे करे, खराब करे मेरे साथ।
1.2 million children are sold into sex slavery each year. Shamefully, this industry exists because someone, somewhere, was willing to pay to sexually abuse a child. The issues these kids face are more than any human being should have to bear. It's a global epidemic that Michelle and her team at Destiny Rescue are determined to overcome.
I do what I do because I have 3 beautiful children, and I have to give back, you know, through a stroke of luck. My children, they can run, they can jump, they can laugh freely, they have the choices of freedom, and other children in the world don't have that luck and they don't have a voice. And I guess if I don't do something, who will?
Michelle Windsor is an extraordinary woman. She leaves her own family, she travels overseas, and she goes into the darkness with a team of agents. And they find these young children and they rescue them. And sometimes this doesn't go to plan. And she has to leave them there.
Yeah, they were suspicious.
If they catch us with cameras, it could get very violent.
If they know you're there to take away their livelihood, they're going to kill you. That's how real a situation could get.
I have lots of sleepless nights, especially when I come back from a project and I've seen what's actually happening to the children. I have nightmares that I've left one behind, and that's what's heart-wrenching, is I can't go into the brothel and get them all out. The first time I went out, I did everything wrong because I was literally shattered. I was heartbroken. And they had briefed me beforehand on what I was going to say, but I had no idea what it really looked like. You're sitting in a bar and you're watching an older man, usually a Westerner, just groping a young girl or a child, and just total disregard for their life. And as a mum and as a human being, to sit there and have to laugh and smile through it to not blow your cover, and inside there's anger. You want to go and you actually want to go and break your glass over his head and say, get off her. There's that mother moment where my heart is breaking, and what if that was one of my children? What would I want someone to do to get them out? We went to India last year and I seen things I never want to see again. We went to brothels where they never see daylight, they're never allowed outside. It's the truest form of slavery I have ever seen. After day 1, I was ringing my husband just crying, saying, I want to come home. I want my children, I just want to feel their arms.
Why are these children put in this situation? Is it because their families can't afford food, or is it something else?
It's a few different reasons. What we find is poverty and lack of education are the main 2 reasons. Not every parent sells their child. There are parents out there, there are mothers who do sell their children knowingly, and that could be for a drug addiction. A mother could sell her child for the simple reason is she's got another 8 to feed. There are parents that are tricked by traffickers saying, We will get your daughter a job in the city, dishwashing. She can come home every second weekend and bring her wage home. And then the girls are taken off to the city and they're sold into a brothel or a bar. And the girls are so ashamed at what they've been forced to do. When they do take their pay packets home every fortnight, they don't tell mum and dad what's going on.
That's including sex?
Including sexy high school graduation.
How long does it take to prepare for a rescue?
We have an amazing team of rescue agents. I go, 3 or 4 times a year. These guys go out every single night, 7 nights a week, into the darkness. They rescue all night and then they spend all day researching. They're making connections, they're meeting with law enforcement, they're just working constantly to find that next girl. So from when we identify a target, depending if it's a soft rescue, if we're going in to get the 1 or 2 out, it can take anywhere from a day to 2 weeks of just constantly going back every night working on getting this girl out. If it's a raid with law enforcement, we have to look at exits and entries, security, all sorts of things. So it can take anywhere up to 3 months. And the whole time you're hoping and praying that these children aren't put underground and removed before you can get there to get them.
Heads up, eyes open. When you see one of the men, she's waiting outside.
For every raid that we get right, 6 go wrong.
How hard is it for these children? Are they too terrified to escape?
Some are. When we've built up enough trust, we will pay a bar fine, which in the eyes of the brothel, we're taking the child away for sex. But we actually take them to McDonald's because what feels safer for a kid than an ice cream at McDonald's? There's bright lights, there's lots of people around. And we explain to her who we are and what we do, and we have photos of other children in our care. But she's been put into this horrible place, usually by someone she trusts. And here are these total strangers offering her the chance of a lifetime. But what if she takes it? And what if it's a worse situation than what she's already in? So they don't always say yes, first off. And then we have some children that are just so beaten down. They've been hurt physically, mentally. They have scars that you wouldn't believe. That they just at that point, they don't care. They'd rather be dead anyway, so we'll give these guys a go because what have I got to lose?
How young are these children and how physically and psychologically damaged are they?
The youngest we have rescued is 4 and 5. They have different levels of trauma. Usually within 6 months, you see them become children again, but some girls are so traumatised it's years.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you restore these children back into the community? What's the process that you go through?
So when they're first rescued, they'll come into our care and they will have medical assessment, trauma assessment. We'll find their families where we can, if they're safe, and we'll actually work with the whole family. We'll look at the restoration, not just for her, but for the whole family. And she'll be a bit like a day patient. She'll come to us through the day and do trauma counselling, life lessons, schooling, and she'll go home at night. The children that have been sold willingly by their parents and it's not safe to return home, they will actually come and live with us in one of our rescue homes. So our rescue homes are set up like a family situation. So you'll have a mum and dad house parent, and then you'll have anywhere between 8 to 15 girls, children. So they're with us till they're 18.
So what's the answer? How do we stop this global epidemic?
For me personally, I'm going to rescue until I've got nothing left. I'm going to rescue until they cart me off in a box. But we need government change, and we need the UN, and we need lots of ambassadors. We need lots of celebrities to stand up and say it's not okay to have sex with children. We need voices. We need people to unite. And I think as a united front, we can make a big difference. We can make the governments listen.
Michelle, thank you so much for sitting with me today. You're an absolute inspiration, and never give up what you're doing.
Never. I will never give up.